Hey everyone, welcome to the weeklies. Every day, chess.com gives us a puzzle, and every week we sit down right here to figure out why the right move works. Let's break down this week's 7 puzzles. March 22nd, Sunday. We've got this position, white to move. Pause here if you want to find the idea. Now, the solution. Why king h5 work? White simply steps out of checks and defend h6. But more importantly, it puts black in a completely helpless position. Look at the black king, already trapped. Now look at the black queen. It cannot defend properly, tied to key squares like d2. It cannot attack, no useful checks. This is a classic case of Zugzwang. After king h5, black has no good moves. In puzzle, black played pawn b3, white queen f3 check. Black plays wherever king e8 or king c7, loses the queen in next 2 moves. What if black to move first? Can you defend this position? Or you have something better? Write me in the comments. Let's go next one. March 23, Monday. We got this position, white to move. Pause here if you want to find the idea. Now the solution. Why knight f6 work? At first glance it looks like a fork, and that's correct. But there's a deeper idea. This is a classic checkmate pattern. After knight f6 check, black is forced play king h8. And now the finish rook h7 mate. This is the well-known Arabian mate. The knight controls escape squares. The rook delivers mate. What if black to move first? Can you survive the mate? Or you have something better? Write me in the comments. Let's go next one. March 24, Tuesday. We got this position, white to move. Pause here if you want to find the idea. Now the solution. Why does pawn f7 work? This move creates a discovered check from the bishop while also cutting off the black king from stopping the pawn. So white achieves 2 things at once, activates the bishop with check and pushes the pawn closer to promotion. Now black is helpless. Even blocking with queen and rook cannot stop the pawn, only lose them. The king is forced to move h7. And now comes the beautiful idea. Under promotion, instead of the obvious queen, white underpromotes to a knight. Why a knight? Because it delivers an instant mate. What if black to move first? Now, can you spot mate in one? Or you have something better? Write me in the comments. Let's go next one. March 25, Wednesday. We've got this position, white to move. Pause here if you want to find the idea. Now the solution. Why does knight e7 work? This is a classic checkmate pattern known as Anastasia's mate. The idea is to force the king into the corner, then use coordination between knight and rook or queen to finish. Let's break it down. The rook on f3 already cuts off the f5. The black king has very limited space. Knight e7 check forces. King h8, rook takes h7 check. A sacrificed black king is forced to take h7 and finishes with rook h3 mate. What if black to move first? Now, can you spot mate in one? Or you have something better? Write me in the comments. Let's go next one. March 26, Thursday. We've got this position, white to move. Pause here if you want to find the idea. Now the solution. Queen h6. Why does this work? Because it creates 2 simultaneous mating threats. Queen takes f8 immediate mate. Queen takes f6 check, followed by queen g7 mate. This is a classic case of double threat. Black must defend both ideas. So black has 3 responses. Queen d6, queen e7, queen d8. Queen d6 and queen e7 both fail. Those squares are controlled by the knight on h5. That leaves only one move, queen d8. Now comes rook h3. It creates an unstoppable mating threat. No matter what black plays, queen takes h7. Mate is coming next. What if black to move first? Can you survive the mate? Or you have something better? Write me in the comments. Let's go next one. March 27, Friday. We've got this position, black to move. Pause here if you want to find the idea. Now the solution. Look at the white king, completely exposed in the center. And notice how both black rooks dominate the open g and d files. This is already a dangerous setup. Rook g2 creates a mating net around the white king. Now, no matter what white does, mate is unavoidable. Queen takes c7, a last attempt to create counterplay. Now black continues, bishop c3 check. But this fails as the queen can defend instead. The correct move is bishop h4 check, king goes f1. Now comes the finish, knight e3 mate. It checks the king and at the same time, it defends the rook on g3. A clean and elegant checkmate. What if white to move first? Can you survive the mate? Or you have something better? Write me in the comments. Let's go next one. March 28, Saturday. This is a very instructive puzzle, white to move. Pause here if you want to calculate. Now the solution. Why does bishop f6 work? It creates an immediate mating threat. Queen takes g7 mate. Now look closely. The g7 pawn is pinned. It cannot move. If black tries to defend with a rook, then knight takes f7 mates is coming. What can black do? Pawn takes f6, capturing the bishop. But this doesn't solve the problem. White continues. Rook g3. The queen and rook form a battery on the g file, renewing the same deadly threat. Queen takes g7 mate. Black's last attempt, rook g8, trying to defend. But now comes the finish. Knight takes f7 mate. What if black to move first? Can you survive the mate? Or you have something better? Write me in the comments.